Hey, what is up guys? This is Nishi here from MST.TV, back with another Market Watch episode. Today we're looking at a few weird buyouts from the last week or two. Like, I know buyouts and price spikes are what keep the market so interesting, but let's be real guys, sometimes they make me wonder what on earth these people were smoking when they decided to spend their money on these things. With so many different cards out there, it kind of boggles my mind to see what people will spend their money on, but hey, that's more cards that people like you and I will be able to profit from. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, kicking things off here, we're going to take a look at Destiny Hero Celestial. Shout out here to Wade Joyce for pointing this out to me in the comments of the last Market Watch episode. So last time we took a look at Fusion Destiny and Destiny Hero Dasher as being key pieces of the Destiny Hero engine that is currently running around over in the OCG. Well, the other piece of the engine is actually Destiny Hero Celestial. This is the other fusion material that you're going to want to dump from the deck with Fusion Destiny, and it's actually pretty cool if you can resolve its graveyard effect. It allows you to banish itself and another Destiny Hero from your graveyard to draw 2 cards if you have no cards in your hand. So depending on what you play, you may or may not be able to resolve it, but it's definitely a really cool option to have. Anyways, it is worth noting that the original Secret Rare Celestials from Destiny Soldiers are way up at the $35 mark, which is kind of insane. I remember when these things were only a few bucks on the set's release. Now, very fortunately, the card does have an ultra rare reprint from Dual Overload and a common reprint from the Legendary Hero decks, so you can definitely get a copy of this card for only a quarter or something very cheap like that. Personally, I think that if you have the secrets, you should be offloading them. I don't think they're worth that crazy of a price, and it's not like you're going to be using the card much outside of the strategy anyways, though I do understand that it is a hero card, and people who want to collect all of the hero cards often want the highest possible rarities. However, I would definitely grab some ultras if you don't have them already, while they're still incredibly affordable. Next up, we're taking a look at Inzektor Hornet. So if you guys remember, we had a poll where Yu-Gi-Oh players got to vote on support for an old archetype, and Inzektors won. We're finally getting that Inzektor spell card in Grand Creators, and it sounds really promising. We know that it will take an Inzektor monster or equipped spell card from your deck and then either summon that card or equip it to an Inzektor monster on your side of the field. So right off the bat, it sounds like it's greatly improving the consistency of the strategy. I think that what people are also hyped for is the Bee Troopers potentially becoming a bigger archetype that might mesh well with the Inzektors, as they are both insect based, and we could be getting some more support for the Bee Troopers in Burst of Destiny. Anyways, because of the new Inzektor support and Bee Troopers, Inzektor Hornet has jumped up in price. Hornet was one of the cards that made Inzektors so powerful when the deck first came out, allowing you to tear apart your opponent's board very easily. I think that from the combos that I have seen recently, you can still abuse Hornet to trigger cards like Zect Caliber and Dragonfly, which is really cool. Anyways, Hornet has just one printing from way back in Order of Chaos as a super rare, the set that it first came out in back in 2012, and so this card is currently up at $16 a piece. Personally, I think it's a no-brainer that we will see at least a few Inzektor cards reprinted in Grand Creators, and I think that Hornet will definitely be one of the cards at the top of the list. Even without it, we have multiple other reprint sets coming at the end of the year where this card could be included, so to me this card is definitely a sell, since the odds of its value tanking before the end of the year are just way too high. Alright, so this is a pretty weird and random one, but the next card here is Quaggar Hercules. So this card is just a level 6 vanilla fusion monster that happens to be an insect, so of course we are still talking about the Bee Troopers / Inzektors here, maybe Battle Wasps if you're really crazy. Now with the new card Ready Fusion released in Dawn of Majesty, Quaggar Hercules is now a monster that you can cheat out of your extra deck for free. For example, I think that Bee Trooper Armor Horn can only be made using insects, and it locks you into insects as well, so maybe you need to Ready Fusion for Quaggar Hercules to use it as an extender. Anyways, not too much to say here about its use, since it's more entirely based on potential application. But what is crazy is that there are currently only 2 printings of Quaggar Hercules available, and they are from Tournament Pack 1 and Tournament Pack 3, which means that the last time that this card was printed was way back in 2003. This is pretty crazy and means that it's going to be really hard to find a copy of this card that isn't either really expensive or really beat up. The TP1 Supers are more expensive, currently at $400 a piece on TCG Player, while the rares are slightly more reasonable at $80 each. Now, I want to think that if the card is actually needed for a strategy, Konami is going to take pity on us and reprint it in an OTS tournament pack or something like that. But who knows, I guess if you do have the card and you're not just trying to complete those old sets, now might be your chance to find a buyer for an old card like this that is willing to pay a little bit more of a premium price. Next, let's take a look at Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill Frost. So we talked a bit about Evil Twins last time and how they're getting a really cool new rank 4 boss monster that has the potential to make them meta relevant in the future. Kiss-a-Kill Frost is a monster that didn't come with the original batch of Evil Twin cards, but rather was released in a core set instead. This card is pretty cool because it's an extender for Evil Twins, allowing you to summon it from your hand for free if you control a Lilla. This is great just in case your opponent happens to have a Veiler, Ash, or Imperm. To negate your Lilla, you'll still be able to combo off a bit. Now, I don't know for sure if Evil Twins are going to be meta or not. I think they're a bit stronger here than in the OCG because we don't have Max C in our game. However, people are definitely paying attention to the thing. This card has trended up from $3 to $7 over the last few weeks, and the support isn't even out yet. It's worth noting also that Kiss-a-Kill Frost was printed in Lightning Overdrive, and so it doesn't fall into the reprint range for this year's Megatins, and probably won't be reprinted until the 2022 tins. Now that being said, if the deck starts to take off, I could definitely see Kiss-a-Kill Frost hitting $15 to $20 for a single copy of the card, especially since it is a waifu deck and it's going to be very popular. If you're looking to play Evil Twins this year and believe in their potential, you might want to grab your copy of Kiss-a-Kill Frost now while it's still fairly affordable. So this one is kind of cool. I know people have talked a bit about this card at various points in the past. We have Shooting Riser Dragon. So this card is a generic level 7 synchro that, when it's summoned, lets you send a monster from your deck to the graveyard that is level 7 or lower, and then adjusts its own level. Now apparently this card is used as an extra deck option over in the OCG, since you can use Halqifibrax to tag into this card, dump Token Collector from your deck, and then since Token Collector can be summoned from the graveyard, it becomes a free floodgate against the Sword Soul deck, which is currently dominating over in the OCG. This is really cool, though to be fair, that does seem like a lot of work. Also with OCG trends, they come up with a lot of things that are really cool, but don't always translate here in the TCG, so take this with a grain of salt. Anyways, Shonen Jump ultra rare versions of Shooting Riser Dragon are currently around $10 to $11 right now, while the super rare reprints from the Dark Neostorm special editions are around $1 or $2, so both copies are, in my opinion, fairly affordable for what they are. This card is just a one of, and it seems pretty situational, so I definitely wouldn't go ham and buy a ton of copies of either version of the card, but I would pick up the version that you want to play with now just to have the copy readily available. Okay, so this is probably one of the dumbest buyouts that I've seen in a really long time, but someone actually decided to try and buy out both copies of Fleur Synchron. So this card is a level 2 machine tuner that lets you summon a level 2 or lower monster from your hand when you use this card as a synchro material, which I guess is cool, not really. Now the only possible reason that I can see for this card to be bought out is because of the Fleur support that we are getting in Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm, which I believe is coming out in October of this year. However, this makes no sense to me for a couple of different reasons. The first is that I think it's pretty obvious that they're gonna reprint Fleur Synchron in the set. It's included in the set over in the OCG, and if it's such a key card for the strategy, they will have to include it. The second thing is that the card isn't even used in the strategy itself. They have another card whose name is treated as Fleur Synchron called Necro Synchron, which is like 10 times better, so I don't know why you'd want to play Fleur Synchron in the first place. However, this hasn't stopped some brilliant individuals from buying out both versions of Fleur Synchron, to where the ultras from the video game are $20 each, and the synchro structure deck commons are $10 each. Now to be fair, these are the only two copies of the card that's currently available, and technically there is no guarantee that the card won't be reprinted in a couple of months. But let's be real here and try to use some common sense. There is no reason that anyone should be spending this much on a card like Fleur Synchron. Hopefully you guys have a few copies that you can dig out of your bulk and offload, because really it's just free money at this point. Alright guys, the last card I want to talk about today, it is Artifact Dagda. So I think Dagda is actually a card that you guys should be looking to pick up now, as it is still quite cheap but has some decent upside potential. Artifact Dagda is a generic Link 2 monster that basically just lets you set an artifact monster from your deck for free, which is probably most likely going to be Artifact Scythe, which can stun your opponent out of their extra deck for the turn. We haven't seen too much from artifacts recently, especially with Infinite Impermanence and Effect Veiler running around so much. However, with Destroy Phoenix Enforcer coming out in Burst of Destiny, I think that people might be inclined to look at Dagda once again. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer lets you pop 2 cards, so you can pop itself and the set Scythe. Scythe will stun your opponent out for the turn, and then you get Destroy Phoenix Enforcer into the graveyard, and it's destroyed properly so that it can be summoned back the following turn. Dagda right now is pretty cheap, it's only $2 to $3, but I think it's something that has the potential to reach anywhere from $5 to $10 if it picks up in popularity. Of course, Dual Overload did come out a year and a half ago, so there's a chance that we could see Dagda reprinted in something. However, at only a couple of bucks a copy, I personally think that it's worth grabbing a few copies of and then maybe looking to offload right when Burst of Destiny drops, as people are more and more hyped for Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Okay guys, that is it for today's Market Watch episode. There were definitely a couple of really odd cards to talk about in today's episode, but that's just the market that we deal in now. Hopefully you guys can take advantage of these bad buyouts and move your cards at inflated prices wherever it's possible. That's not to say that you should never buy into the hype, because sometimes it is justified or there's good reason for a card to trend upwards, but you just need to remember to dial it back a bit and use some common sense. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy today's Market Watch episode, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up button for me and let me know. Also, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what other cards are trending on the market right now so that I can potentially cover them in a future episode. And also let me know what you guys think about the cards that we talked about today and just how crazy some of these buyouts were. Also, if you haven't already, please do make sure that you hit that subscribe button to get all of the latest and greatest content from both Tombox and myself here on the channel. And until next time, guys, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.